And actually, I think the lighting is actually better. Hey guys, I'm sorry, I'm late. It's my fault. It's not my fault. It's my teenage daughter's fault. But to my teenage daughter, anything that's her fault is actually my fault. So in fact, I just got yelled at, which is
Hmm.
hilarious because I didn't do it. But that's teenage daughter parenting. I just got in trouble. I am with my friend Andy Cabasso.
Hey, that's
And we're gonna have a chat about some things. Real quick, before we do that, I wanted to remind you first. On last night, after my conversation with Carolyn Elephant, we talked about a webinar that she has coming up to talk about some cool supply chainy things that I think are cool. She doesn't use that word because it's super nerdy, and who the hell uses these words but me? But she thinks it's what did she called it something that she thought was super witty, and now I can't remember. But anyway, go back to yesterday's, click the button, join her webinar. I also wanted to point out Nina Zhang had hosted a Zoom Hangout session with some Lawyer Forward members. We're looking over that, talking to people who attended that to see if that's a thing that people want to continue. So we'll talk about that later. So, all of that said, Andy, I want to talk to you because A, I have a calendar thing that lets any rando schedule a time with me, and you're that rando today.
yeah.
Uh,
I said, you know what? It's Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern. I got nothing else to do. I don't need to sleep. I don't have a 10-month
Tiny
old
child,
child.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that this is the best life choice. Being right here, right now is probably the right call. But I did, and you're a nerd. You're a particular kind of nerd. You're
Okay.
not in legal anymore at all, right? Like you're not doing anything with legal
N-
now, right?
No, I'm not.
But for a while, you had built, if I recall right, a website building tool that was targeted to agencies that were working for lawyers, and then you joined an agency, if I recall,
All
building
right.
websites for law firms. So
So,
tell me why anyone should care about your opinion about what we're going to talk about tonight.
all right. Well, you're kind of right. I built a tool for building websites. I then started a website design and digital marketing agency focusing on lawyers. I am also a lawyer, and I did web design and marketing for law firms, a company called JurisPage, some of you might know. In 2016, it was acquired by Uptime Legal, and I was with Uptime Legal for a good while there, and I am now doing something completely different outside of the legal space.
Nerdy. Uh, cool.
Sure.
So I need you to do some therapizing for me. And this is relevant to other people in the group because I've been thinking about this a lot. And I feel like you're going to have a more informed opinion than my self rationalization, my self justification. There seems to be a life cycle. And so I'll just show people real quick why I'm thinking about this. There was an article out this week from Bob Ambrogi. And basically, this had gotten around. One of the first legal bloggers to ever blog has decided he's not blogging anymore. And it's a big deal only because he's been doing it for like 20 years. And
Hmm.
so for him, and let me show this because I can't remember the guy. He's at like the Brookings Institute or something.
I think it's Cato.
Yeah, you're right. He's at Cato, and he's written over lawyered for a long time. Walter Olson is his name, and he's written over lawyered for a long time. And I think, in fact, he wrote a book called Over Lawyered that sort of put him to in the Cato Institute fame circle. But the story is that he's not blogging anymore. And here's basically what I wanted to talk to you about was this idea of there's a lot of talk about content marketing and
Mhm.
has been for a while, and a lot of it to lawyers just sort of doesn't make sense to me. And I've been saying to lawyers, and I've said I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, whether this is true or not. But I
Mhm.
feel like you can't win the first page of Google anymore, right? Like if I'm divorce lawyer, Houston, Texas, it's really hard to win the first page now. It's easier to win the Google My Business spots, though they're making that harder for us. And
Mhm.
it's easy to win theoretically really niche stuff, but even that, like, I feel like the directories, the Avos and the FindLaws are stealing all the space. So if I'm looking at it as ROI for getting to the top page of something. Is there any connection anymore between average Joe blogging once a week and winning the first page?
Well, I don't want to say the lawyer answer, but I'm gonna say it depends.
This is why no one likes you. This is it
Yeah,
right here.
that is it. Well, the thing, I mean, like if you know what you're doing, then sure, you could rank well on a blog for your blog post, and you could rank on the first page. I mean, this is why many lawyers hire marketing agencies to help them with all of this and advise them on what kind of content they need to be publishing. With my agency, we were ranking plenty of websites on the first page for competitive keywords as well as the more niche keywords. But that was our job. We knew what we were doing. That's what we were paid to help people do. And it's still like available. It's not like someone has claimed forever the first spot for every single good term in Google. There's still opportunities there, but you have to kind of know what you're doing and spend the time on it, really.
Yeah, and it sort of feels like SEO is almost a tactic more than a strategy. Like trying to get to the first page is a way to get to some people, right? It's not the only way to get to all people. It is a way to get to some people. So if that's a game you want to play, maybe it's worth playing that game. But I guess I'm just not persuaded that if average Joe is going to sit there and just write posts all week, that it's going to win. You know, the logic now, there was sort of this cycle where it was like any moron could write anything that says family lawyer Houston, Texas is good because Houston, Texas needs family lawyers and family lawyers in Texas do family law in Houston.
And now it's way too competitive and you just can't do that and start ranking magically.
Right. And so there was this cycle where it was like, okay, don't do that anymore. Now just say really kind and sweet things. And I feel like now we've gotten to this sort of perfect storm area where the good Jedis writing really nice things have combined with the Sith doing the Black Hat SEO nonsense. And like the two of them have become, finally the force is in balance. And you've just got winners out there. I mean, you either win or you lose. The first page you go, there's no middle ground. And the second page is a lonely place.
Well, I mean, there's also, and I don't know, to use the Star Wars analogy, what you're going to say the FindLaw directory is that shows up on the first page for nearly every lawyer-related search term. You search for personal injury in any given city, and the FindLaw directory shows up. I don't know, that's super relevant. Let's call them the Death Star and
your
Avo pages, I don't know, Star Destroyers, why not?
Yep.
Star Killer Base, let's go with the sequels.
Star Killer, it's bigger. It's bigger.
I don't know. I don't want to, anyway. So, where are we going with this? We're going to do a watch-along now of the original trilogy?
Yeah, because I'm not watching Rise of Skywalker because it was terrible. And I would just be angry the whole time. So, we're not doing that.
What were we talking about again?
You have kind of a Kylo vibe now that I think about it.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Kind of a Kylo Ren thing going. No, I don't know. I feel like lawyers are given a lot of advice, and usually the advice that we're given, the person giving the advice has something that they're after, right? As soon as they persuade us that we should do X, then we have to pay them to do the X, right?
I mean, that's kind of how everything works.
That's how everything works, and I get that. But I am not persuaded by either camp that says just write really good things and you'll be fine, or go play the deep SEO game and pay us to chase keywords or whatever. There's probably some balance in the force that you have to do. But I've been thinking about this because, and I shared this with you earlier, you're not going to see this as I drag this onto the screen, but I had sent this to you earlier. There was this question on the Twitters where a guy in Israel said, friends, what are your thoughts on writing posts on social media versus writing in online legal publications? He didn't say the word blogs, but theoretically a blog is an online legal publication. But I assume he's talking about like writing for the ABA or actually, I've been getting a lot of LinkedIn requests from randos in Eastern Europe like, hey, we've we've gotten this most amazing legal blog that you should, or legal journal or whatever that you should go write for, because they just want some words. So his question is, should you do short form social media, let's just chat, or longer form being on legal journals and those kinds of places online? Do you have any feelings on short versus longer form?
Well, what's the goal that you're looking to get out of this? Like, if you want to get search engine visibility for your law firm and your website, I would say longer form stuff, publishing on your blog. But if you have some, pithy remark to say or some fight to pick, social media is probably better. But part of the challenge with social media is many people don't have a following, and so often it's just you're screaming into the void and no one's paying any attention, unless you're, of course, trying to tag someone and then pick a fight to get some visibility, then there's something there. Maybe like I'll tag Mike Whalen and be like, hey, I don't think that we're lawyering in the Star Trek economy. It's the Star Wars economy. The ABA is the Death Star and Carolyn Elephant is all the Jedi.
You're just going to run.
Leaning into this.
Yeah, well, and my response to Nur on this, for what it's worth, was that I've stopped blogging regularly on the Lawyer Forward site because that was me screaming into the void, right? The amount of time that it takes to get an organic audience for a blog is hard. It was harder for me than to go on Twitter, follow the right people, engage with them the right way, and have them retweet. And for me, like strategically, writing is really hard for me. It's a really grueling process, and I'm good at it. And so I decided that's what I charge for. That's the thing in my business. Obviously, these kinds of conversations I don't posting on Twitter I don't charge for. Being on podcast interviews I don't charge. There's all kinds of stuff that I do for free where I just share stuff for free. But writing is not that thing. And so for me, I decided instead of doing that mid-long thing like a blog post, I'm doing either uber short, right, like Twitter or Facebook or whatever, or I'm doing really long, like a book or video. I mean, video is kind of a weird middle, but if I'm writing, it's either really short or really long. Sure.
Well, you also, in your content, is rather niche, and you're talking about things like lawyering in the Star Trek economy and supply chain and things like that, and how to provide legal services. How are people going to be thinking about finding that online? Are lawyers searching for that? And so if you write this amazing blog post that's, let's say, 10,000 words, why not? How many people are possibly going to find that, because how many of them are actively looking for that? But with your Twitter posts, for example, right now you have an audience, you have people that you can share this with. And so if you have something to say, then maybe that works for you,
Yeah, and to be clear, I have literally zero search-related strategy, right? Like, there's nobody going to search for the stuff that I do. That's just not... That's not the way it works. And it does work for lawyers that way. There will be people who search for what you do. And so maybe my stuff's not instructive at all. Sure. Or at least to say, if you're a certain kind of lawyer that's trying to build through referrals or through you being a deep expert and you want to be known as that, you might have a totally different strategy in terms of your engagement than if you're trying to show up on SEO. If you're a scaling law firm, you might totally want to win the first page.
Sure. Like that sounds like something like Kevin from LexBlog would say is, be the expert and everything like that, and have your blog for that and use it for relationships. And that's definitely a different goal. I definitely focused more on SEO and just search engine visibility for those key terms that people were searching for, But yeah, I get it. There are different approaches with that.
Well, that's nerdy. And hopefully that's helpful to people. I think I see everything through this lens. I think a lot of this answer depends on business model first. And part of what frustrates me about law firms that I could just rant about all day is we talk as if there is a law firm. There is a model for law firms, and therefore you must all do X. And the advice is often contradictory because with this a law firm that everybody's talking about, it's actually two business models. One's a scaling audience builder, entrepreneur, and one's an expert freelancer type, and we're like saying
Yeah.
be both of them, and it's a terrible model, and it drives me crazy. So anyway, so I'm seeing this as which, how you treat content really depends on which of those paths you're taking.
Sure.
But that's nerdy. So let's get personal, Andy.
Okay.
Let's get personal. Did you see that Civ 6 did you play Civilization when you were younger?
I mean, when I'm older,
Play it now.
oh God. Yeah. Okay. So this is you not getting nerdy?
No, this is me getting personal level nerdy is what this is.
Yeah. Okay. I can neither confirm nor deny whether I have put in 100 hours into Civilization 5.
Yeah, I was going to say Civ 6 is free right now, and it's like for the next
saw
2
that.
weeks or something. And so if anybody wants to waste a lot of your life, go get
Yeah.
Civ 6. And
And then play Skyrim and play Fallout while you're at it. Just, what are you doing? You got nothing else going on.
the problem is that you have to be on a PC in order
Mm-hmm.
to play Civ 6. And
Good. This is going to be what saves me.
who does that?
I don't have a PC. I have a Mac.
I don't understand. I tried to download it. It was like, we only work on a PC. I'm like, what the hell's a PC? And so now I have to go find one. So, but Civ 6 is available. My kids, I sat them down and was like, you guys need to talk to more people. So I need you to have a budgeted Xbox Live, time. You need to spend more time on Xbox Live. And my kids were like, what the freak are you talking about? So your personal life, are you guys married? Are you married? You're married.
Yeah,
right?
I'm married.
So
Yeah.
you've got a wife and a young child are you on Long Island? Where
I am Long Island.
in an
Really,
apartment, right? Like you're in a small space?
house. This is my office. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the Star Fox. I mean, it made me want to do a barrel roll. You gotta.
That is from my childhood bedroom. This is gonna date me, but then again, it's Star Fox 64. Electronics Boutique, now GameStop. At the time, Electronics Boutique was, promoting Star Fox, and they had these big banners in the store, and they were about to throw it out, and I'm like, oh, hey, can I have that? And they're like, yeah. So that was
I worked at Blockbuster a long time ago, and there was a year where we had posters for all of the Oscar contenders, and they were huge. I mean, and it was like a thick paper, and they were enormous. So when I was like 17 or 18 or something, my room had The English Patient and Shine and Sling Blade, as if I had seen all these movies, and I was like a huge fan of all these movies. The Hamlet, Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet was on there.
You just sound like every cultured guy,
I was really
freshman
educated.
in college,
Yeah,
right? Like,
I was super. I mean,
did you have
an English
did
patient.
you have a one of those bebop hats or a fedora?
No, I had hair back then, so I let it.
You had a long flowing mane?
I would never. Actually, in high school, a guy used to call me P and P because it was poof and polo. Because I would always wear polo shirts and I had big poofy hair. It would like wave. It was like that's real. PP.
I guess that
P and
that-
P. Was mine.
just learned something new about you. I'm excited about
I
that.
had beautiful hair. It's gotten long enough now that it's like starting to curl in the back. So I've got like party in the back happening, business in the, and it's really, with this scraggly beard, I'm really just business in this section, like this. I'm like business here. I'm business here, party in the back, hobo in the front. I'm very imprecise with my. So anyway, my question to you was, how are you guys faring in the apocalypse? Are you eating a lot of bean-related dishes, or is that just me?
I can't say that we are.
You don't know how to eat in an apocalypse. It's a problem.
Well, so we didn't have, a year or whatever of stores that you had, I'm guessing.
Of beans, like of nothing but. I've got like a bag of rice, but I don't know how this happened. I think there was a lady who had food storage, and she was moving to New Zealand, and so she brought all of her food storage stuff to church one day and was like, people take this, and I think we got in there last. And so we got in there and got these big jugs of small white beans and small red beans, and so we're just red beans and rice in it every day. It feels like, but I'm really good at it, so suck it. Life.
That's good. Yeah. So we
Suck it, apocalypse.
we did not have that. And New York is a bit of a crazy place right now. Yeah, it's not fun. It's
well, sorry. But you've got a, but baby, 10 months is old enough that they're sleeping, and right? Is that, I don't really remember.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe some kids. Maybe there are kids.
She's waking up a few times at night.
Really?
Yeah.
10 months?
All right, you want to come over and tell me how to parent right?
You're bad at this. I'm sure my wife would have strong opinions about that. She'd get so
where's
bored.
Nicole at?
Yeah, seriously. She'd get so bored of being around kids all the time and the kid attention and the touching that we'd go out to Target or whatever, and she'd see somebody looking at baby equipment, and she would talk to them for 20, 30 minutes in the store because she just needed some parent, like adult interaction. So she would probably have many opinions about this. Anyway, is there anything that you're doing that is remotely relevant to this audience that I can tell them to connect with you and support you in some way?
Sure, why not? So I have a new startup which recently was number one. Actually, came out this week on Product Hunt as number one on Tuesday, which is a tool to help people build links and ultimately get more traffic to their websites. It's called Postaga. It's POSTAGA.com. And yeah, that's what I'm working on now. And so we're kind of talking about blogs. We're talking about marketing and all that. If you have a blog that you want to promote and find other websites that you want to reach out to and share your content with and get it linked to and build relationships and share that and get more traffic, Postaga can help with that. So that's what I'm working on now.
Well, both of you who were watching this tonight, first of all, get a life. Second, I wanted to remind everybody, I'm going to see if I can make this drag over really quick. Both of you who are watching, I want you to remember that tomorrow night is Ask Twinsies time. And
I can't wait.
So Nick and I are going to give terrible advice. All you have to do is anywhere on social media, you can use the hashtag AskTwinsies. Ask your questions. They can be real. They can be ridiculous. We will give equally terrible advice in either scenario. What I'm going to go do now is eat some banana pudding. What's great is my wife hates banana pudding, which means there's some left. If I make anything that she likes, if there's ice cream or chocolate pudding things, but like I make a banana pudding that is so bad for you. There's like cream cheese in it, and there's like evaporated or sweetened condensed milk in it, and whipped. It's terrible for you, and I want more of it. Andy Cabasso, you're a good man. Thanks for hanging out with us. You're at Andy Cabasso on Twitter, right?
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right.
And you're in this group, so if you guys have nerdy SEO-y, show-up-y questions, he's your man. You'll have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow for Ask Twinsies.